Hello, hi, good evening. Let's be honest. The moment a woman feels safe enough to let you touch a certain part of her body, something has already shifted emotionally. And most men completely miss it. They think attraction is loud, obvious, dramatic. But real female attraction is usually quiet, subtle, hidden inside tiny moments that don't look important until it's already too late. A woman can smile at you and feel nothing. She can flirt with you and still be emotionally distant. But when she slowly removes tension from her body around you, that's when the truth begins leaking out without words. Most men think attraction starts with what she says. No, attraction starts with what she stops protecting. You need to understand something about female psychology that nobody teaches men. Women live with constant awareness of physical and emotional boundaries. Every interaction is filtered through comfort, trust, emotional safety, and instinct. That's why the smallest physical permissions mean more than dramatic compliments ever will. A woman may tell 10 men they look good, but she will only relax deeply around the man she emotionally welcomes into her space. And one of the biggest signs is when she lets you touch her hair. Not aggressively, not forcefully, not randomly, but naturally, calmly, slowly. If she adjusts herself closer while you touch her hair, if she doesn't flinch, if she melts into the moment instead of creating distance, her emotions are already involved more than you think. Because hair is personal. For women, hair carries identity, femininity, vulnerability, confidence, emotion. Most women don't casually allow physical closeness there unless attraction already exists underneath the surface, especially if she lets the moment linger. Especially if she maintains eye contact while it happens, especially if her breathing changes slightly and she becomes softer instead of tense. That softness matters. Women rarely reveal attraction through logic. They reveal it through emotional surrender, through lowered defenses, through comfort, through proximity. And men who understand this stop chasing validation because they begin recognizing silent emotional signals other men overlook. Here's where most guys destroy everything. The second they notice a woman becoming physically comfortable, they rush. They become overeager. Their energy changes. Suddenly they start trying to win her instead of remaining grounded. Women instantly feel that shift, and the emotional safety disappears. A woman is attracted to emotional steadiness far more than desperation. That's why the men women obsess over are usually calm men, present men. Men who don't force moments, men who understand that attraction grows in silence long before it explodes into words. When she fixes your collar without hesitation, when she rests near you longer than necessary, when she brushes against you casually and doesn't pull away, when she lets your hands stay for an extra second, those are not random moments. That is psychology happening in real time. Female attraction is often subconscious before it becomes conscious, and that's why emotionally intelligent men always notice body language before they listen to words. A woman who likes you will slowly stop guarding herself around you. Her posture changes, her eyes soften, her reactions become slower, calmer, warmer. She begins existing around you instead of performing around you. That difference changes everything because when a woman feels emotionally disconnected, her body stays alert, controlled, reserved. But when she genuinely likes you, tension leaves her body little by little. And the dangerous part? Most men never notice the transition until another man does. The truth most men never recover from is this: women rarely fall for the man chasing them the hardest. They fall for the man who makes them feel emotionally seen without making them feel emotionally trapped. That's the difference. And if you don't understand that difference, you'll spend years confusing attention with attraction. A woman can enjoy your company and still never emotionally open herself to you, but when she starts letting you touch her face softly, when she stops resisting closeness near her neck, her cheek, her jawline, something deeper is happening internally. Those areas are emotionally connected to vulnerability, trust, intimacy. A woman does not unconsciously offer access there to a man she feels unsafe around. And this is where male desperation destroys attraction. The average man interprets physical comfort as permission to immediately escalate. He thinks every emotional opening is a shortcut to validation. But women are studying your emotional control the entire time. They are watching how you handle access because access reveals character. A man who rushes communicates emotional hunger. A man who stays calm communicates confidence. That distinction changes how a woman feels in your presence. You have to understand something difficult. Women are not emotionally moved by intensity alone. They are moved by emotional awareness, by patience, by restraint, by a man who can feel chemistry without losing composure. Because composure creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is one of the strongest triggers of long-term attraction. That's why some men confuse women completely. The loud guy gets attention. The grounded guy gets remembered. When a woman likes you, her body slowly starts syncing with your emotional energy. She mirrors you without realizing it. She leans closer during silence. Her voice changes around you. Her eyes linger a little longer after you speak. She begins touching you first, in subtle ways, just to test emotional closeness. And the strongest part? Most of it happens unconsciously. Women often feel attraction emotionally before they logically admit it to themselves. That's why they sometimes act confused around the man they secretly want. Their words may stay controlled while their body quietly tells the truth. You'll notice it in the smallest moments. She fixes your hair without hesitation. She allows extended eye contact without discomfort. She relaxes her shoulders when you sit near her. She finds excuses to remain physically connected to the moment. Those signals matter more than rehearsed flirting ever will because attraction isn't always loud desire. Sometimes attraction is comfort, calmness, emotional relief, a woman thinking, I don't need to perform around him. That feeling is rare for many women. Most women spend their lives around men trying to impress them, pressure them, dominate conversations, or seek validation. So when she meets a man who remains emotionally centered, she notices immediately, even if she never says it directly. And here's the part that hurts many men. Sometimes the woman already liked you, but your insecurity ruined the emotional tension before it could grow naturally. You texted too much, you needed constant reassurance, you panicked when she became quiet for a few hours, you turned connection into pressure. Women don't pull away because they hate emotional connection. They pull away because pressure destroys emotional freedom. A woman wants to feel chosen, not emotionally cornered. That's why emotionally attractive men understand pacing. They let moments breathe. They don't force labels too early. They don't beg for certainty. They allow emotional tension to build naturally instead of trying to control every outcome because attraction grows strongest in space. And when she genuinely likes you, she starts protecting the connection herself. She starts wondering where you are. She notices your mood shifts. She remembers small details you forgot mentioning. She becomes emotionally attentive without realizing it. That's when female psychology becomes powerful. Not when she says she likes you, but when her behavior quietly starts revolving around your presence. Most men are searching for obvious signs because they're terrified of misunderstanding women, but attraction was never designed to be obvious in the beginning, especially not for women. Female attraction often grows slowly, emotionally, almost invisibly at first. And the men who understand that are the ones women become emotionally addicted to over time. Because here's what nobody tells you. A woman's body reacts to emotional comfort before her mouth admits emotional interest. That's why the way she reacts to touch matters more than the touch itself. If she instinctively moves closer instead of away. If she lets her hand rest against yours longer than necessary. If she becomes quieter and softer during physical closeness instead of guarded and alert. Her emotions are already moving towards you internally, especially when she lets you touch her waist naturally. Not in a forced way, not in a performative way, but casually, comfortably, effortlessly. The waist is deeply connected to feminine instinct and physical trust. Women are extremely aware of who enters that space, so when she relaxes there instead of tightening up or repositioning herself away from you, it usually means one thing. She feels emotionally safe with you. And emotional safety is where real attraction begins growing roots. But most men sabotage this immediately. The second they notice chemistry, they stop being present. Their mind races ahead. They start fantasizing about outcomes instead of paying attention to emotional pacing. Women feel that shift instantly. Suddenly, the interaction no longer feels natural. It feels heavy, expectant, pressured, and pressure suffocates attraction. This is why women often describe certain men as too much, even when those men technically did nothing wrong. It wasn't always the actions, it was the energy underneath them. Neediness has a feeling. Desperation changes the atmosphere around a man, and women are incredibly sensitive to emotional atmosphere. A grounded man creates calm. An insecure man creates tension. That's why confidence is not loud behavior. Confidence is emotional stability, the ability to enjoy connection without trying to immediately possess it. Women notice that more than men realize. When she likes you, she starts inviting you deeper into her personal world without verbally announcing it. She shares stories she normally keeps private. She shows you different sides of her personality. She becomes less filtered, less guarded, more emotionally playful. That's attraction becoming trust, and trust is what transforms temporary chemistry into emotional attachment. The problem is that modern dating trained men to chase signals aggressively instead of understanding them emotionally. Men became obsessed with decoding women while completely ignoring emotional intelligence, but female psychology is not a game of tricks. It's a game of emotional perception. Women remember how you make them feel internally. Did your presence create calmness or anxiety? Did she feel emotionally judged or emotionally understood? Did she feel pressured to impress you or free to be herself around you? Those questions determine attraction more than appearance ever will after the initial spark. And the strongest men understand something weak men never do. You cannot force emotional openness out of a woman. You create the conditions where it naturally appears. That's why patient men win long term. A woman slowly reveals herself to men she emotionally trusts. First, through comfort, then through vulnerability, then through attachment. But if a man rushes the process, she pulls back because her instincts no longer feel safe. Women don't emotionally surrender to pressure. They emotionally surrender to consistency, to emotional leadership, to men whose presence feels steady during uncertainty. And once a woman deeply associates your presence with emotional safety, peace, excitement, and understanding, attraction stops being logical for her. That's when she starts thinking about you during random moments. That's when your absence changes her mood. That's when she notices other women noticing you. And that's when she begins fearing the possibility of losing your attention without ever admitting how deeply she already wants it. A woman who truly likes you will eventually stop communicating only with words. Her body begins speaking first. And if you pay attention carefully, you'll notice something almost unsettling about female attraction. The closer a woman feels emotionally to a man, the more subconscious her behavior becomes around him. That's why the smallest touches reveal the biggest truths. When she lets you touch her lower back while walking beside her and doesn't immediately create distance, it matters. When she naturally stays close instead of drifting away, it matters. When she finds reasons to remain in your physical space even after the conversation should have ended, it matters. Because women don't maintain unnecessary proximity with men they feel emotionally disconnected from. And no, this isn't about manipulation or winning women. That mindset destroys real connection. This is about understanding emotional patterns most men are too distracted to notice. Female attraction is deeply tied to emotional experience. Women remember energy, they remember tension, they remember how safe or unsafe their nervous system felt around you. That's why two men can say the exact same words and create completely different emotional reactions. One feels forced, the other feels magnetic. The difference is emotional presence. Most men enter interactions trying to prove themselves, but emotionally attractive men don't perform constantly. They observe, they listen, they remain centered. And because they remain emotionally grounded, women slowly relax around them without even understanding why. That relaxation is powerful. A woman who likes you often starts exposing tiny vulnerable behaviors accidentally. She plays with her hair while listening to you. She maintains eye contact slightly longer than normal. She laughs more freely. She becomes less self-conscious physically. And one sign many men overlook completely, she stops rushing to leave. A woman emotionally drawn to you extends moments naturally. She lingers after conversations. She delays endings. She creates extra seconds together because emotionally, your presence feels rewarding to her. That's not coincidence, that's attachment forming quietly. And here's the painful reality many men never hear. Sometimes women test emotional stability without realizing it, not through games, but through instinct. She may become quieter temporarily. She may pull back slightly to observe your reaction. And insecure men fail these moments instantly because they panic. They overtext. They seek reassurance. They emotionally collapse the second uncertainty appears. Women notice that immediately because attraction weakens when a man cannot emotionally regulate himself. A woman wants to feel your strength emotionally, not just hear you talk about confidence. She wants to feel that your mood, identity, and self-worth are not entirely dependent on her validation. That emotional independence creates mystery, safety, and respect simultaneously. And this is where most men misunderstand female psychology completely. Women are not attracted to men who never care. They are attracted to men who care deeply without losing themselves. That balance is rare. A man who becomes obsessive feels emotionally dangerous. A man who becomes cold feels emotionally unavailable. But a man who stays calm, attentive, purposeful, and emotionally disciplined creates something women crave but struggle to explain: emotional certainty. And once a woman experiences emotional certainty with a man, her behavior changes in subtle ways. She begins investing emotionally without being asked. She remembers details. She checks your reactions. She becomes more physically affectionate naturally, not because she's trying to impress you, but because emotionally she already feels connected. That's why the strongest attraction is never built through lines, tricks, or forced seduction. It's built through emotional consistency, through understanding, through creating moments where a woman feels safe enough to stop guarding herself every second. Because when a woman truly likes you, her body stops asking, "Can I trust him?" and slowly starts asking, "What would it feel like to lose him?" The moment a woman starts imagining your absence, attraction changes into something far more dangerous, because now you are no longer just a man she enjoys talking to. You become emotionally attached to her internal world. Your presence affects her mood, your attention changes her energy, and that's when female psychology becomes impossible to fake. Women can pretend interest temporarily. They cannot fake emotional investment consistently. You'll see it in the way she watches you when you're distracted, in the way her expression changes when another woman gets your attention, in the way she remembers details you forgot saying weeks ago. Attraction always reveals itself through attention, and one of the strongest hidden signs when she lets you touch her hands repeatedly and naturally without hesitation. Hands seem small, innocent, but psychologically they reveal emotional openness more than men realize. A woman who keeps finding reasons to maintain hand contact is unconsciously reinforcing emotional connection. She is testing comfort, trust, presence, chemistry. Human beings communicate enormous emotional information through touch, especially slow and intentional touch. That's why certain moments feel unforgettable even when nothing dramatic happened, because emotion was transferred silently. And women feel emotional experiences intensely. Most men underestimate how deeply women analyze emotional energy. A woman may forget exact words you said, but she will remember how her nervous system responded around you, whether she felt calm, desired, seen, appreciated, safe, excited. That emotional memory becomes addictive, especially in a world where most interactions feel shallow and performative. And this is why self-improvement matters more than cleverness. A man who is emotionally stable, physically disciplined, purposeful, and calm naturally creates attraction because his energy feels different. Women notice when a man is not emotionally starving for attention. They notice when his life has direction beyond chasing validation. Purpose is attractive because it signals emotional structure. Chaos repels trust. That's why women often lose attraction when a man slowly becomes emotionally dependent on them for happiness. The relationship starts feeling heavy instead of inspiring. Women want connection, not emotional responsibility for a man's entire identity. And this is where many men unintentionally destroy intimacy. They stop leading themselves. At first, she admired his confidence, discipline, ambition, emotional control. Then slowly, he abandoned his routines, his focus, his standards, his emotional independence. He made her the center of his emotional world. What felt romantic initially eventually felt overwhelming. Attraction fades when admiration disappears. Women need emotional connection, yes, but they also need to emotionally respect the man beside them. Respect grows when a man maintains self-control during stress, uncertainty, and emotional tension. Anyone can appear confident when things are easy, but women pay attention to how you behave when things become uncomfortable. Do you become reactive? Do you lose composure? Do you become needy the second emotional distance appears? Or do you remain grounded, clear-minded, and emotionally mature? That answer silently determines whether attraction deepens or slowly dies. Because female attraction is not only about physical chemistry, it's about emotional experience over time. A woman wants to feel that being close to you improves her emotional reality instead of draining it. That's why masculine calmness is so powerful, not coldness, not arrogance, calmness. The ability to create emotional steadiness in moments where most men create pressure. And once a woman deeply trusts your emotional presence, physical affection becomes effortless. She touches you more. She leans into you naturally. She relaxes fully beside you. Her body stops protecting itself from you because emotionally, you no longer feel like a threat to her peace. You feel like peace itself, and that feeling is rare enough to make even the strongest women emotionally attached far faster than they ever expected. Most men spend their entire lives trying to make women like them without realizing the real secret was never persuasion. It was presence. A woman remembers the man who made her feel emotionally alive without forcing her to become someone else. The man who stayed calm when other men became desperate. The man who understood that attraction grows strongest in emotional safety, mystery, trust, and consistency. And when a woman lets you touch the parts of herself she normally protects, her hair, her face, her waist, her hands, she is rarely giving you access to just her body. She is revealing comfort, trust, curiosity, emotional openness. Those moments are quiet, but psychologically, they are powerful. The problem is that most men ruin those moments by rushing to secure certainty. But attraction was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be felt slowly, naturally, authentically. Women don't emotionally attach to perfection. They emotionally attach to emotional experience, to the man whose presence feels grounding during chaos, to the man who listens without trying to dominate, to the man who understands restraint is more powerful than pressure. And the truth many men avoid hearing is this. If a woman genuinely likes you, you won't always need to chase answers. Her behavior will slowly begin answering your questions for you. The softness in her voice, the way she stays close, the way she notices your silence, the way her body relaxes around you instead of resisting you. That's attraction in its real form, not loud words, not fake games, just emotional truth leaking through behavior. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments. Have you ever realized too late that a woman already liked you because you completely missed the signs? And if this video opened your eyes, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this before he loses someone who was already emotionally choosing him. Subscribe, share, and like.